It's late at night. The world outside is asleep, but inside you feel a magnetic pull. It's that quiet, insistent itch you try to ignore, dragging you back toward a habit you promised to leave behind. For a brief second, the habit provides relief. The world feels softer and the pain disappears. Yet, when tomorrow comes, the stress returns, the promise dissolves, and the cycle resets itself exactly as it was. The fact that this cycle of shame repeats despite our best intentions suggests we are misinterpreting the very nature of what a craving actually is. Our culture treats addiction as a test of character. The standard solution is brute force willpower, the idea that if we are simply disciplined enough, we can crush the urge out of existence. But psychological suppression works like a mechanical force. When you push an object underwater, you create resistance. The harder you press down, the more pressure builds, until the object explodes back to the surface with more force than before. Willpower is a finite resource that fatigues under stress. When life gets difficult or the day gets long, the mental muscle we use to hold back our impulses eventually exhausts, leaving us defenseless. By relying on sheer discipline to kill an urge, we inadvertently strengthen the very force we are fighting. Carl Jung proposed that cravings are not symptoms of a moral failing. He saw them as urgent, encoded messages sent from the unconscious mind to tell us something we refuse to hear. Jung called the source of these messages the shadow. In this model, your mind is a house. The upstairs is your persona, the version of yourself you show the world. The basement is the shadow, where you lock away every emotion or fear you think is unacceptable. Every time you repress anger or bury grief, you compress those emotions into the basement, creating a buildup of psychological pressure the conscious mind can no longer contain. Addiction is often the result of this pressure finding a leak. It is the shadow's way of bypassing your control to demand its underlying needs be met. The shadow often disguises its true needs, like chronic loneliness or a fear of insignificance, behind the surface mask of a craving for comfort or distraction. To disarm this, Jungians use naming. When an urge hits, you label the emotion behind it. Saying, "This is fear," or "This is isolation," creates a gap between the feeling and your reaction to it. This makes active imagination possible. Instead of running from the craving, you pause to visualize it and ask it directly what it needs. A gambling addiction, for example, might be a mask for a desperate need for risk or aliveness. When the person interviews the craving, they discover the core need isn't money, but a vitality they've suppressed in their daily life. By observing the urge rather than being swallowed by it, you strip away its mystery, transforming an overwhelming impulse into a clear request. The goal of this work is integration, welcoming these repressed parts of the self back into your conscious life instead of trying to cut them away. Jung was fascinated by alchemy because it mirrored this transformation. Just as the alchemist had to understand base materials before turning them into gold, we must understand the raw material of our cravings before they can be transformed. Once the energy behind a craving is identified, it can be calmly diverted. The drive that once powered a destructive habit is redirected into a pursuit that actually feeds the soul, like creative work or authentic connection. True freedom is the ability to channel the energy of your darkest impulses toward your own growth. The shadow and its cravings will always return, but awareness changes the dynamic. You recognize the urge as a signal to decode, not a command to obey. This is what Jung meant when he said that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives and we will call it fate. Listening to these dark corners allows you to reclaim the energy lost to addiction. By following the map your shadow provides, you can use the fire of your struggle to